All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to another, and it's good to be this way sometimes. Destination Happy Hour Show. I've got RH Max with me today, waiting on Kareem. He had a late flight last night, so I'm trying to wake him up. So feel free, if you're out there, try to wake him up because we only have like 50 minutes to an hour here. We're just going to blow through some topics for this week's show, but I've been traveling this week, so that's why the different show time. Max, man, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Another day in paradise when you're in the HEX and Richard Heart ecosystem. It's always a good day. Can't complain.
That's right. That's right. Um, there's a lot to talk about, even though I know it's a bear market. But I mean, we're just chatting some topics in the green room. Um, mostly hex related. But you did bring up a coin that isn't really hex related, but I guess created by a hexagon, a what number
Yeah.
17 Googler or 21 or whatever his number is.
You've seen
Uh,
the streams, haven't you, sir?
Mr. Jack, yes,
Yeah.
I have, and
Yeah.
basically listening in and out of consciousness as I fall asleep and trying to retain as much as possible. But what are your takeaways from it? Because I have a feeling that you have more thoughts on it at this point in time than I do.
Well, literally yesterday, I kept, as what we was talking about in the green room too. It's not for all I can see, it's not not a positive price feedback loop for Hex. It's not really related to the ecosystem other than Hex. He appears to be a Hexagon. He's in the ecosystem. It got that kind of connection. Which may be good for broader audiences because it's supposed to launch a pulse chain and BSC and Ethereum and different networks like that. So that was interesting. But I didn't really pay much attention to it. And then yesterday I was like, all right, I'm going to go through a few videos, kind of figure it out, because the first few videos I went through, it's just kind of talking about this, this grand scheme, like this grand ideal of, this fair type of crypto, fair launch, all this stuff. I get it. But, it's kind of one of those things you've heard it a million times. Okay, let me figure out what this is actually about. And then I watched Crypto Kindness video on minting it. Shout out to him. And I think Fashion Coder did one today as well. And David Feeder may pull one up too at some point. But it's interesting in a way that, I watched the minting phase and I kind of watched him talk about it a bit. And from what I understand so far, you basically just go to the portal, you set a number of days that you want to wait until your tokens are minted for you. So again, the token is just the ERC20. It's nothing special in that regard. It can be traded, bought, sold, all that stuff. And you type in the number of days you want to wait. Maybe it's 100, maybe it's 1,000, whatever it is. I'm not sure in the limits and stuff yet. And then you just wait until that time, and then you are allocated those coins. You can mint them. You can, I think you can choose to stake them or do maybe some other options. But I just never seen a coin. Like the only reason I'm really curious about it, because it's not, I usually focus on coins that either pump Hex, pump Pulse Chain, have some kind of, good thing going on for the ecosystem, because I'm RH Maximalist. Kind of gotta, I keep myself straight with that name too. I'm like, I want to be maximalist in this community. What's fascinating though is I just never seen a coin that you just, it's delayed gratification. It has that principle, and then this whole game theory around how many people, how long are people going to wait? How much coins do you get by waiting? And then just kind of trying to see what kind of price the thing may have, because I'm sure there'll be some people, if you think, okay, if you wait, if most people at least wait 100 days or something, then it'll take a while to actually for the market to materialize and kind of, go back and forth. But I'm sure there'll be some people who maybe meant for 1 day or 5 days or 30 days. And then the market will sort of come together from there. The biggest thing to me is just, like, why would you participate other than just the curiosity, the game theory, it's kind of like a fascinating type of atmosphere for delayed gratification and game theory. So it definitely needs adoption. Like I guess everything is key for adoption too, but especially this of, hey, you're kind of just waiting, you're minting coins, and then you're seeing what happens. But yeah, that's what I know about it so far. Not a whole lot, but I just thought the concept itself, I just never seen anything like it. So that's why it piqued my curiosity more than other things.
Yeah, it's different just because I think his aim is to try to get it, and I'm talking his Jack is. It sounds like to me into as many hands as possible, to be, I guess, maybe a means of exchange, something like that. and it's, he still acknowledges, HEX as, the real. But yeah,
The
it
king.
is. Yeah, yes, it still, piques the curiosity, especially since, he comes from a good pedigree, if that's, a proper term. So I don't know. I'm always
Yeah.
skeptical of, new projects, but my eyes are, open, willing to receive and see what this is about, especially if it's like a claim kind of thing. So there's no
Right.
like sacrifice that I can tell or anything like that. I'm
Exactly.
personally like tired of all the sacrifices now. I'm like done. I'm like worn out, rinsed
You
of it.
tired of
Like,
no expectations?
yeah, just like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fair point. But yeah, I think we're all just as Hexicans. We're just like tapped out. We're good. Like anything else is kind of like a milking of the community, or is seen that way, at least from what I can see. So anything that's like a fair free launch airdrop, as Big K always says, who doesn't love free coins? So
Yeah.
an
Take
entry
like
to another ecosystem. So yeah.
if I were to take the positive negative side of what the case for it, the case against it, maybe the case for it is okay. It doesn't it doesn't directly help the RH ecosystem, but we got a popular Hexagon, or at least popular at broad, as being at Google, all the stuff that he's about. Seems to be willing to be on different chains and kind of get that marketing across the chains going on, which could be interesting. And almost not quite the meme route, but the kind of similar effect in that way. And then he could having all the expertise and background and networking and stuff. It sounds like they may be building stuff around it that you definitely need to build something around it to further gamify it and further make sure it lasts for a while, other than just
you got to
being
have that
curious
stickiness, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because right now when you mint, it's just like, okay, you mint for 100 days. You're kind of just like, okay, this is in my consciousness for 100 days. You set your calendar 3 months from now to check your Zen stuff, see what's going on, check the price, see what it is at the time, see what you're going to do with it, or you're going to restake it, whatever. So you got to acknowledge that trade-off too. It's now part of your consciousness. If you participate, it is now part of your consciousness. Whether that's good or bad, totally up to you. But for me, I try to put more things in the ecosystem in my consciousness than otherwise. But again, the trade-offs may be worth it here. And then the case against it, again, it doesn't really do anything for. I wish there would be some feature that would directly help your community. And I went back and forth on different ways of, okay, is that a good thing because it only keeps us, if it only rewards Hexicans, some people say it's a bad thing. They have all these cases against it. And then some people say I won't invest in anything that doesn't. But then you got well, it's a free claim. There's no sack phase. There's nothing you need to do except click a button and put in a number of days. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know. It seems like I hope it's not a Telegram doesn't disappear after a week or two. Hopefully not. We've seen that before.
We're admin, sir. We're admin.
Yeah.
Oh,
or you just wake up and you're just not in the room anymore. You're like, whoa.
Oh, the room has disappeared. One of those.
Yeah.
I've kept an eye on some, but yeah, the admin question is probably my favorite and unfortunate part of those rooms. So it's the admin, he's going to be back Monday or something and just never comes. And you poor people, man, you're married to this stuff. And it's oh
yeah, I know.
So DJ Cryptomatic, what is going on? Just a shout out real quick to a few of you guys in here. Crypto already has a couple questions. Ask away. I'm far from being up to date on this. RH is more up to date than I am, but I don't know if we can answer them.
This much.
Yeah, feel free to fire away. DJ Cryptomatic, Marion, what's going on, everybody? DJ, if you are up and able, I posted the link to join the stream on Twitter if you want to stop by and say hello. It's a free for all, pretty much. So check twitter.com/Cabana Crypto. And feel free to join us and say, hey, we're going for another 40, 45 minutes or so, and we'll call it. But yeah. Marion, is this in Florida? Yes, it is. It's the Gulf Coast. The Gulf Coast that was not touched or affected by Ian. So it is
good.
Absolutely beautiful out here today. The wind is there's like a slight breeze blowing out, so that's why there's not a lot of waves. But you can see maybe like there's a man of war like right there. So that's interesting. So don't step on that. So
yeah, we'll let you know if we see a big wave coming in the background.
thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Like, no, don't take him too soon.
But
sorry,
yeah, anyway,
too soon for hurricane jokes. Actually, sorry about that.
Yeah. Too soon. But there's one like deep in around the equator, and I think that's gonna hit like Central America or something like that. So fortunately, the high pressure system that's up here is going to keep that one away. So people in on the Gulf Coast of Florida, the other Gulf Coast, I'm on the northern Gulf Coast in the Panhandle. They can get their cleanup efforts, fully underway. I know a lot of people are getting power back down there. So
it's been rough.
Florida's a huge state.
Yeah, I was going to say thoughts and prayers go out to the people affected by it. That's crazy. That's one reason I'm so hesitant to live near a beautiful body of water like that. I'm just, it always reminds me of on Westworld, like the violet delights come with violent endings kind of thing. I'm like, it looks so good, but then there's that hurricane thing that happens every once in a while. So
I mean, it's just kind of like playing the lotto, I guess, in a way. You think you have better odds, I guess, on the Gulf side, but this past storm just proved that, if at the right angle and the right, wind and shear doesn't take it, down, then it can come into the Gulf Coast. So they had one, I think it was like, I don't even know how many years ago, but it was pretty much over the same area. And, they had to rebuild from that. And it's really sad because down around the Sanibel area, I was just there 2 months ago, and I'm seeing images online and in the news, and it's right outside the Fort Myers area. Like those barrier islands just totally destroyed, and it's really sad. I know Fort Myers is wrecked as well, but a lot of those communities, they're at it. They're insistent on living there, and I'm sure if they have their insurance, then just it's a way of life. I guess you price it into your head, and it's like, okay, this could happen, and that's the way I kind of look at it. So I mean, some homes are built for this stuff. That I can, there are homes on any coast that are built to be hurricane resistant, but the ones with like shingles and are more outdated, there's the ones that aren't gonna survive. Yeah, Marion. A lot of even Naples, that's down in that area. Pine Island, exactly. I was just there 2 months ago. Yeah, it was that area. So, but what you were alluded to kind of is, I think we just touched on briefly, is like getting crypto in as many hands as possible. And I think that's like a big benefit of, or it could be of Zen, is that, we need more people in crypto. We have 100,000 HEX wallets. So if, everybody is giving crypto in their wallet or is able to claim it, and then they're involved in the system, and then they can be led by a founder or developer to, other great products like a HEX, then more power to it. And I'm all about that. So.
Yeah, I always just go back and forth on the splitting buying power, because I talk about this on free claims, where not only is your consciousness, now everyone's like, oh, it's a free claim, I'll just get it and dump it. Yeah, maybe you will, or maybe you'll see, somebody on Twitter talking about it. Oh, maybe I should buy some now. Oh, I dumped it a while back. Oh, it's a good price. I should buy it. And now you get involved, you start trading it. Now it's taking away the money that you could have put into HEX or perpetuals or Hedron and stuff like that. So just be aware. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Just be aware. Everyone to be aware that like it's not the free claim is the carrot. Like the minting is the carrot.
Exactly.
Now,
that's a great.
It could be a good carrot, could be a bad carrot, but it is a carrot.
Yeah, and hopefully for people in the HEX ecosystem, forthcoming Pulse Chain ecosystem, or I guess call it the RH ecosystem, not the Max, but the true RH, but HEX, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, if they get a taste of it and it's easy enough to do and claim I saw a comment asking how, it will depend upon the gas. So I think that's something that people are going to have to be patient with. So if Gwei is like running at like 55 the first time you can claim it, you probably want to wait a little bit if you're claiming multiple wallets. So really, it's been down.
Too.
Yeah, if you can wait, if you can be patient, you can get it under 10, maybe even under 5 certain mornings here in the eastern half of the U.S. Early morning, I saw like 3 Gwei this morning. So it's just like something that you keep an eye on. For anybody who is interested in keeping track actively, just you do Etherscan, gas tracker, and have it bookmarked and just pull it up and boom, there you go. So
yeah, I just wanted to touch on the wallet still too. I think maybe related to Artie's questions or a couple questions there, but just I've been thinking about this for like 24 hours. So I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. But I was just thinking that I've heard some stuff around multiple wallets where, each one you can, obviously if you have a system where you can mint and it's per wallet, then, hey, the first ideal is let me make multiple wallets, make multiple minting phases, and then I get multiple ones. You could do ladders, you could do 100 days, 200 days, 300 days, if you got 10 different wallets, stuff like that. So I think strategies around that, I think probably a lot of people will be deploying just to be able to either ladder or just, benefit from having multiple wallets and multiple claims.
Boom. There you go. He had another question down here. I thought maybe I missed it. Oh, there it is. Is it more beneficial in amplifying rewards by consolidating several wallets and transferring those minted coins to the wallet with my highest rank right before staking? Sorry, I got glare. But I guess this is all part of the game theory with a free token, if there is such a thing. You're kind of like maximizing your tokens. I want to point out, like, the main reason we're talking about this is like this could get more people into crypto, which hopefully theoretically could get more people into the Richard Hart ecosystem. So
we got 3 more minutes on Zen. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So any other final thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
Just on that too, like I don't know what the staking rewards. I imagine bigger pays better. I don't really know at this point. So if you were to consolidate the ones, say you minted 10 different wallets, 100 days, whatever, and then you got all that Zen back, combining them all into one and then staking that, if the rules are bigger pays better, which I imagine they are, stuff like that, then that would make sense. Otherwise, maybe it makes less sense. But I don't know the staking rewards and stuff well enough to really speak on that one, though.
Yeah. Well, there we go. There is our Zen entry into crypto, hopefully into HEX and Pulse Chain. We touched on it. We did it on the stream. Nobody can say on Happy Hour we never talked about Conrad Zen or the coin.
Oh, God.
Zen. Yeah. Has anyone seen
all
that Zens? Man? I think it's under my impression like he got hacked, and like it's just I'm kind of worried about the guy because like he's made some like weird he's tweeted some weird videos in the past about his location being secret and stuff like that. And like what is going on? like and then he disappears.
I never knew much about him. I don't know much about him. I heard about the project and I just maybe came across a few videos from time to time, but I never really followed him.
That thing that I never touched that, had any interest in it. But that's where I thought he got hacked, because that didn't seem to me like something that he would do if he's being driven around,
well,
different places.
If he got hacked, wouldn't you come out within a reasonable period of time afterwards and explain about getting hacked and how that wasn't true and stuff?
Yeah, but if you've lost your ability to communicate, then maybe not. So maybe your devices, I don't know, but it's just weird because I've seen somebody under his handle in YouTube comments on other Hexagon streams talking not like Conrad talks. Like I've seen him comment before in his own streams, and this guy was like using bro and bruh and stuff like that. I'm like, that doesn't really sound like Conrad. So that's kind of.
Hope he's okay. Yeah, I hope everything's all right with him.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move into more something that I guess is in the HEX ecosystem. Something that's kind of been on a little bit of a ripper lately. Hedron is acting quite positively. I mean, I didn't think we would start to move maybe this early. I kind of, obviously the target date is kind of like early mid-November, like the 13th, I think, with the HSI.
Well, that's where a lot of them are coming, but I think there's also some coming in October, so that could be a reason why things are starting.
So people, okay. Feel free to comment on it if you'd like.
I just jumped in, didn't I? Okay, I did this. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching it for a few days because I knew I was kind of waiting around too. Like, November's coming, but it's not even October yet. Let me give it some time. And then I started seeing, okay, this seems to be moving up a little bit. Seems to be moving up. I'm not a chartist or anything at all, but I'm just like, okay, I just kind of, based on the sentiment, based on a lot of data sources I look at, it seemed like this could be, and a lot, there's a lot of people.
Did you subscribe to my paid group for $1,000 to find out this information?
I don't do a lot of pay groups these days, but send me some more information about it, and maybe we can get a phone call. I can pay you for it.
Okay. All right, enough. Anyway, continue.
Yes. So I like how this is like a demonstration of like, look at the value I provide. Like, how would you like to join? Telegram link in the thing. Yeah. But anyways, I've been listening to a lot of different analysts and stuff, and people talk about things that I'm interested in, and I trust in a lot of ways and have been right about. Just maybe this is the bottom for some markets, and then that makes me think that I'm going to tie this into Hedron in a second, but like just
I trust till you get there. Go for it.
Yeah, just in general, how there seems to be, and again, macro stuff's crazy, Russia, all this stuff. We don't know what's going to happen. Everyone's expecting another leg down, but also you could say that when everyone's feeling that bearish, it could never happen. It could be one of those things where maybe this is the bottom. Maybe the bottom's coming shortly. Maybe all these things. So for Hedron itself, it went way up during ICOSA launch and all this stuff too, and now it went way back down. So if you put two and two together in that way, again, I'm not doing TA on this, but just the fundamentals alone, the options coming up, poly maxi and stuff like that coming out, where you can, you would think people would be buying Hedron to trade it in for poly, to do like the bidding on HSI auctions, the team bidding and stuff like that. Just the fact that you can stake it, a lot of people can't touch their Hedron right now. They couldn't sell it if they wanted to because they're staked 90, 270 all those days. As well. So there's just a lot of good things going for Hedron right now. And the fact that that's all just the relevant, tangible stuff. There's also the change in sentiment for Hedron itself as not being the wells dump forever coin anymore. Everyone actually believes Hedron is a real project now. So it's got a lot going for it.
Yeah. And you had a lot of smart people. I mean, I had more than two hands, count OG Hexkins who have sold a bunch. I'm one of those. But I also have plenty. But if this wasn't going anywhere, take some off the table and, put it wherever else. Buy some HEX with it. And that's what a lot of people did. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, don't blow out your entire position because always wait and see what the long game is. And Alex had a long game in mind. I wanted to see it, and I'm proud that I waited and found out what it was, and still, am enjoying glorious Hedron, just like HEX in my wallet, pretty much every day. So
cool. That's something I want to ask you too, just on that point. So we talk, obviously we both like Hedron. I like Maximus a lot and stuff too. I love the derivatives. I love the things that get all these coins locked up forever. And HSI auctions are fantastic. The whole 5555 and all this stuff is great. But if you were to ask somebody right now, why aren't you buying HEX? Is there a better time to buy X? Even if it goes to a penny, you probably still DCA'd from whatever 8 cents, 18 cents, 25 cents, 15, whatever it was. If you were to ask people why they aren't buying HEX right now, what would they say?
Price is low, and they have doubts that it's coming back. That's my sentiment. I don't think they'll actually come out and say that, but I've onboarded some people in close to 20 cents and or under, and I'm like, you should this, the original onboard was like, get some now, and if it goes lower, one, you can get more. Two, if you're staked, which they are, you're earning all the way. So now that we're down here, it's like I have to break arms, man. I'm like, come on, press the button, let's go. Come on, this is when you buy and not puss out. So
well, I think a lot of people aren't buying too, just they think other coins such as Hedron, such as I even heard before too. I've heard a lot of sentiment around like why would I have liquid HEX? Because I can get a perpetual and I can trade it in to get the premium and stuff like that. And again, that makes a lot of sense too. But I'm just thinking like over time, I love these projects. And I love what they do for HEX. But the splitting the buying power is real, man. It is like when people are, I guess I don't want the meme to become buy HEX one day. I don't want that to be the meme. Like we say, 10,000X is the meme. We know, it's possible, but it's probably going to be lower than that or somewhere in between. But I don't want, you should just buy HEX to be the meme. And everyone who says that is really buying some derivative. I just don't think, I just don't want to be, I don't want it to get that way, but we have so many amazing projects that are helping HEX that it's starting to get that way in a very weird way. Like it's,
I mean, if you have HEX, at least with Hedron, you're earning Hedron, and so that's the way I look at it. Like I have plenty of HEX to where I don't have to go and buy Hedron. Like and I hope the hope is that other people look at it, but people want the fastest pump. So if they feel that Hedron's going to pump, unfortunately, they're going to get rid of something like the asset that they already have, which is likely HEX, because that's how they know about Hedron, and then that holds back the HEX price. So yeah, I feel you, and it's a bit annoying, and I do feel that it's holding us back because there's so many coins at this point that
Well, even with the perpetuals, at least at one point we had an argument. Okay, now if you do this, you're gonna have liquid HEX. You're not gonna have you're gonna get something in return that you can trade and get away from your future, not save your future self from getting that HEX in the future, because you're going to get a coin in return and maybe trade it away and stuff. But then they came out with diamond hands. You're like, okay, now you just kind of solve that. So again, I love all these projects. It's just it's so interesting how it can be positive for HEX in the ecosystem in one way, like so positive, but then not that it changes the narrative, but it just changes even the language, or it makes people say, oh, buy HEX. But if you ask them, if you get down to it, like, are they actually buying HEX, or does buy HEX mean is it the meme now? It's like, okay, when I say buy HEX, it actually means buy anything. It actually means buy synthetic B shares. It means buy derivatives. It means things like that. And just to go to Axis's comment, which is a great one, all value will eventually flow into T shares. Yes, completely agree. I'm just talking about the language of like telling people to buy HEX. Do you actually mean buy HEX these days? Or in a year or two from now, will you still mean it? Will it mean even less than it does today? Because we have all these amazing products.
Axis, man, feel free to hop on. We got like 20 minutes left, man, if you'd like to stop by.
Come on here and beat me up. Let's do it. We're about the same size.
Yeah. Axis is a tall dude, man. I missed him. He and Freddie Quotes had a golf outing recently. A little sad I missed that, but can't wait to see him and hang out with him again. Good dude. We hung out at the Furu's Eulogy shoot last year, about a year ago, and had some good times hanging out. So what is up, Axis? Check my Twitter, bro. The StreamYard link's actually right on there. So yeah.
Hey, Cabana, looks like you got a Facebook profile that's giving away a bunch of BTC.
That's terrible.
That's not. You sure that's not you?
Yep, definitely not me. Yeah. So we'll have
to. They got the Facebook logo right there. Are you sure?
Production crew, can you hop on that and fix that? But I have no production crew.
Where'd the mantis go? Where'd all the jellyfish go? Help you.
The Man of War. The Man of War is gone. Okay. Well,
Man of War, come back. We need clipping.
There's one way out there. But
come back for clip hell. Come here. We need to clip this stuff up.
Yes, indeed. Let's see what else we have here. So you mentioned next leg down, and I just want to quickly comment on that because you brought up something that I've kept on my mind, and that is like, what if we don't get one? And so I made a tweet probably like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I'm actually doing some buying here. I'm not going all in by any means, but at the same time, after we broke, Bitcoin's high of 20K, this is years ago, and Ethereum 1400, I was like, okay, well, that's the level that I would look at it again, talking from like 60K or whatever. If it gets down to the old highs, that's where I'll put some on. And true to my word, that's what I did, because I think that to me, that's a natural place to do so. Now, economic forces, conditions, will that, cause us to go lower and get the Richard Hart 11K? I don't know, but I will be happy to buy when we get there too. But I'm not going to bet the farm that is the call. Like, what if everybody has their order set for 11 or 12K and we only get to like 15? So we've come down all this way and you didn't get anything cheaper. And this is HEX as well. So it's pretty much all in crypto. It's like, this is why you DCA at least a little bit and take advantage of those opportunities.
I wouldn't be mad at anyone buying right now. If you're buying right now, it's hard to, in the RH ecosystem at least, hard to lose even right now.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, brother?
Chilling. Just happened to catch you this morning. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I'm traveling this week, and I figured, hey, you know what? This is as good a day as any. Let's get this done, because I'm not.
Beautiful view you got there behind you.
Thank you, sir. This is the beautiful Gulf of Mexico.
Nice. It looks a little nicer than it did last week down there.
Well, this is not that part of the Gulf.
Okay.
This is the Panhandle.
Okay.
This is untouched from the devastation further down. But one of the original models took it up here, so it's the way the wind blows, so to speak. But yeah, man, I know you you were listening in on some Hedron conversations. I know you're big into that coin. I see all your tweets. You got like the latest take. Like I said, we got like 20-25 minutes here, but what you got, man?
Do you think,
I was just listening to RH Max talk about what his opinion on that was, and I thought that was a good opinion. Is like, you don't really want to be the guy that's shilling a coin and then you're buying the derivative, So I agree with that. But
is it
then
good
again,
that buy HEX turns into a meme? That's what I asked you.
I think that's what's happening. I think it's just value extraction. So like the smart money is trying to extract value in other ways that will eventually flow back into HEX. Because ultimately it's all tied to the T-share. So the yield is really the ultimate instrument by which to measure by. So like eventually, like because of the gravity of the yielding bearing system, that's going to yank everything back toward it. It's like the gravity of like a sun that gives life to the earth sort of like concept. Because like the only place in crypto you get yield that's meaningful used to be Ethereum mining and Bitcoin mining, for something that was steady long term that you could invest billions of dollars of capital in and still see a return over like a 4 to 5 year period. And now where we're going in the future is more toward staking, and who did it first the right way with time locking was HEX. And there's already such an established system here that I think it's just a function of a low price and newbie mindsets that has basically made the situation that we're in now. So it's really just ultimately other people's misstep that's created such great opportunity for people that are open-minded. And that means like even buying Hedron even is good for HEX price too. Sometimes I notice that when I watch the correlation between them, sometimes Hedron leads and sometimes HEX leads, but that's awesome because that means that they're both moving together.
Well, do you think too that in the future that buy HEX, like you'll be telling people, just like you can tell people today, buy Bitcoin, and that kind of gets them into crypto. You don't really mean buy Bitcoin, but you mean go look into these cryptos. There's a bunch of like good investment, blah, blah, blah out there. You think eventually buy HEX will turn into, I don't really mean buy HEX. I mean, buy all these other derivatives, which is great for HEX and has all these, positive feedback loop, all this stuff, but it doesn't really, you wouldn't expect anyone to buy.
I think if people are saying buy, if people are saying buy HEX in the same way that they say today, like if you're talking to an oil currency, like buy Bitcoin just to get exposure to crypto, I'd be like, that basically that's HEX at like over $1, right? So like, cool, yeah. If that becomes the narrative, then we're, we're in like common folk territory now as far as what they recognize as a valuable price point, right? So it's really kind of people's perception of the market, really. And I mean, look, we can get to $1 with who we have in the system. Like, that's not really the concern right now. I think this is just like, again, like, what's the rush? For a lot of us, what's the rush? We did so well over 2.5 years, or that's just my take on it. I just think that it's not so bad if HEX becomes the next Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Because like eventually, like no matter the narrative, when the bull run really heats up and there's all this economic energy funneling into all the fucking forks, all the different free airdropped coins, all this stuff, it eventually will get pulled back into HEX. That's my thesis is that because you can't fight the weight of that Titanic that's being built. It's like Noah's Ark is getting built right now, and all the money will be stored in the yield bearing component of T shares based on its first mover advantage, basically. And like you could say, oh well, what network, what fork, what version of HEX? Dude, HEX is an idea that will span all networks. Yeah, they might not all carry the same value. They might find parity to different degrees, but that's a game for the long-term holders to play. Anyone who didn't have T-shares, they're kind of out, right? So I guess like what I'm saying is that this is a user-controlled network. We get to decide where it goes as a unit. Pretty exciting. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man. Bear market things.
Bear market things. You got that right. Just wanted to say hello to Marion. She's got to work. Catch y'all later. Got to twerk or work. Yeah.
Yeah, Marion.
Hey,
Marion.
Got to twerk.
Good to have you here. Got to twerk.
She's a local. I haven't had the pleasure to meet yet, but hopefully she'll.
Yeah, she's out your way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hopefully the next meetup we'll get to hang out.
So you want to talk about Hedron price? Because we could.
Yeah, is that what you brought up there? I didn't want to.
No, I did have another cool chart up. Well, I can show you a couple of charts if you guys want to talk charts. I don't know. We only have like 10 minutes left. Yeah.
We got 15, 20. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right. So this is the Hedron chart. It looks funky though, doesn't it? It looks like it broke some levels here. That was like an uptrend. Let me pull up the next screener version because that shows a different picture. Hedron. There's the Hedron USDC chart, which has been fun to watch, but the Hedron HEX chart is the one that's really exciting. So, a couple things here. Okay, so can you guys see the DMI here?
I will say yes, even though I got a lot of glare. But...
So basically, the green line is buy pressure and the red line is sell pressure, and the white line is the overall momentum of the trend. So the trend is buying, and it's screamed to like a high of like a 94 on this 8-hour time frame. So it's like almost 100. So it means like buying is screaming higher, selling is tapering off, momentum's at highs. When you look at the chart, we're just we're basically going to need to like putter around here and just kind of go sideways so that these can just not. You don't want the momentum to go up too fast, but look at this thing's looks really good on. I mean, like if you look at the overall pattern here, if you haven't seen this yet, it's an inverse head and shoulders on like the daily time frame. That led into what's basically forming a cup and handle. That's like the craziest setup I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
So you can see this. This is like shoulder, and that's your inverse head and shoulders, and then it leads into this cup. If we get some chop down and then a pump above and then a resumption, then you're looking for your November pump going into the auction. This is kind of what I see kind of playing out potentially over the next few weeks.
That's what a lot of people are looking for. So I hope too many people aren't looking for it, or else,
and the alternative is, let's talk about bearish then. So if you want to say that it all falls out, then yeah, like if you do this fractal, like if it fails, then I mean it's not pretty, right? But here's the issue: is that that doesn't really seem very plausible because these support levels here are permanent in my eyes, and this here was over performance to the downside, so this really doesn't apply here, especially with the fundamental launch of ICOSA, right? So yeah, I mean your downside's very limited, and your upside, the pattern can play out a couple different ways. It doesn't have to play out as a cup and handle, but there's just a lot of momentum that can't be ignored in the DMI. So, I've seen charts not turn out the way that you thought, and they still remain trend. So I think the trend is kind of set. That's kind of my take right now.
I don't understand just on the fundamentals, looking at it too, like why you would sell Hedron until November at least. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't think you need to, for sure. I mean, I guess if you're printing 10x bonus multiplier and it's overflowing and you just need money, I guess that's pretty much it. There's just not a lot of reason to sell. And now that you have confirmation of a continued uptrend now, there's absolutely no reason why you need to be selling.
Yeah, especially when you have a potential chart pattern that could be very well in your favor. There's no reason, like you said, Axis, precisely. It's like unless you got a 10x, 9x, and you're just minting like crazy.
And then the other chart here is the HEX Hedron chart, and you invert it and you flip it around so that Hedron is the upside and HEX is the downside. It shows quite the long-term trend. So I have it in a giga parabola here. It's like this nasty. Here, let me get rid of this fib stuff. I don't know if you guys can see this. Probably not, Cabana, but I hope you can. But
I see most of it. I'm
it's
not
just
seeing
this
like
massive,
the small print.
So we stayed in the upper band for so long, and then when we broke down out of this band where the yellow line is on this band, then I just, like the other day I was just being funny and I created like a double channel here, but it lines up right here with this initial price action sort of, where we kind of created like our first top. So I'm just wondering, like, what does this ultimately mean? We long since passed the all-time high in HEX terms, and we didn't have to come down and test it as support yet, and we've already found higher levels. So this here looks like major support. It looked good on the RSI, but this is the chart I've been tracking to kind of measure Hedron price action, especially on sell-offs. And this is where you see like certain correlations, like against HEX, where like sometimes Hedron will pump, but when HEX is hurting, Hedron will dip. But then when HEX finally finds a base, so let's pull up the HEX chart. This thing will just it relieves all the pressure on Hedron, and then Hedron starts pulling up HEX price after that. Because not a lot of the money is being traded from HEX into Hedron; it's the other way. USDC.
Yeah, and Polymaximus, already talked about Polymaximus too. It's like pouring gasoline in a grill filled with Hedron.
Yeah, dude, that's a pretty cool contract. Those guys are so cool.
Yeah,
we're oscillating on the 1.618 on HEX, man. This is huge on the retrace off the all-time high. So you're like, I guess I'm gonna give away the marbles here. These are kind of some of your downside targets, but that's just we're oscillating on the 1.618. So that holds a support. I mean, that's pretty much that marks the bottom for sure. Like in my eyes, like I mean, I've pretty much said that I'm more on that team bottom, but there's always that risk that Bitcoin cracks, and does 50% down, and that it puts pressure on us. But I'm not too worried.
Couple questions for you, since you brought up that orange coin. I guess first, since we're still on Hedron, gun to head, mid-November, do we lose another zero?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's like a fib level, right? So
yeah.
Oh yeah, this is where we're going, roughly. We're already. If you guys know anything about fib extensions, I basically charted the original base down here. I think it was, from the original low to the new high off the low to the base, and then you get all these projections out. And since we found support on the 1.0, this is Hedron versus HEX. Like your upside is definitely going to knock off a zero. I know there are sellers waiting up here north of a zero getting knocked off though. But the question is it enough? That's what, like 160% away. How many more? Like I don't know if you guys have heard like the comment about how it can do a 10x from these levels, based on like where it would be a 5555 stake equivalent value, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we had Sloth on a few weeks back talking.
Okay.
That kind of
So I think that levels up here like about a 2.0 more. Not quite, right?
Yeah.
But I just think, let's be conservative a little bit here, but expect this to move quickly when it does to the 1.618 when you break the high. That's called price discovery. And then when this money will then flow back into HEX on the high, right? Because that's ultimately what keeps happening with these sell-offs.
All right. And since you brought up the orange coin, well, first of all, I like how you didn't even hesitate in answering that first question. Be like, oh, yeah, we can do that. And
Oh, yeah.
knock off a 0. Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. It's so quick, man. This thing will move quick.
The corn.
The corn.
What camp are you in? Are you in that we are grinding out a bottom here, or that we have one more leg to go?
Well,
because I just, and this was me fooling around on a chart like last week, but looking at the last dip, I think it was like late 2017, to where we were like grinding around 6, and then we went down to 3-ish, 3,000, and then we kind of ground around there. This looks like that in a way, and then history rhymes but doesn't repeat. So I don't know. Just your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean there was a lot of bottom signals coming in on Bitcoin for basically the last 100+ days. No matter what metric you look at, it was kind of saying the same thing. And then as this has, basically the price is stalled to the downside. You just keep getting more confirmation. So the way I think of this is like you can rally back to like 25K is easy, and then 28 to 30K could be a short-term top.
That's like the test, right?
And that's your test. And then like if you were to repeat some of this price action, you could get a spike down to 15K, but you might bounce first or something. You might get one of these where you get a bounce, and so it's just going to be a matter of time. So basically my metric is how long till halving, how long till the new American president, stuff like that kind of dictates for me the cycle. And so because that changes policy with money printing and stuff. I think the price chart looks ready for a bounce, I guess, is the best way I can just explain that.
Do you think we get to the RH11 ever again, or even under 15? We were talking about that.
I just think that these levels here, that 13.7K, I think that is like I'm kind of in the same camp as Steve Courtney. Like I think that's a major level that if you get down there for just a marginally lower low or something, like that would be where you'd finally tap out. And I mean, does it really matter if it's on? Could I say yes on a wick that was 15 minutes long or something? Yeah. Sure, that can happen, but that's not where this game is played, in my eyes. I guess if you're asking if the price is going to come down sub to 11K and stay down there for some extended period of time, that ultimately is determined by larger market forces outside of crypto next year. Now, I'm not in that camp. I think that things get a little better next year. Like at least go grind sideways and go crab mode.
And I guess it's a win-win if you make a call for a lot lower and you get a wick there, then you can claim victory.
Yeah, so I mean, I hope RH, he wins all the time. So I hope he gets his win, and I hope it's so fast that I basically get to say that who cares? That was basically the bottom. But,
exactly.
I'm not in this to make friends or to like call things right. I just want to be accurate.
Right. And some of us just want pulse chain to launch. So hey.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be really nice. I don't think it's coming, guys.
Nobody is thinking about when pulse chain is launching. Okay, nobody.
I think it's going to be a long time. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Unfortunately.
I'm cool with that. And then this is, like I said before, I think maybe before you're on, like I've done some buying here, like sub 20K and sub 14K on ETH. Like that was my original target after those highs were broken and we were sitting way higher than we are now. It seemed like a natural place to put some back on. And if we go lower, then like we were saying earlier, win-win. And
yeah, we're in major oversold. We're in major oversold territory across the markets. So I mean, if you're not buying now, but you were buying a year ago, you really have to think about what you just did, in my opinion.
Yeah.
because I bought in the last week on HEX and Hedron. So I bought both, same amount of money on both. So what does that say to me? I'm bullish on the ecosystem.
They're just markets in general. Like I tweeted, I was adding HEX, Bitcoin, and Ethereum a couple weeks back. Will it hold? Don't know. But if it takes off and leaves without you, and you were, waiting for another 50% dip after we've already gotten smashed, then it's on you. I hope you get it because I'll be there with you buying it. But I don't want to take that chance, especially since like these were levels that I've been eyeing for years. And I definitely want to take some of that back on.
I think just a lot of people like that are talking publicly just forgot like that there's a lot of people that don't talk publicly that had already had a lot of ideas and plans for these situations. So I agree with you. And then
I was just going to ask too, like just on Pulse Chain real quick, if Pulse Chain launches January, whenever, you think we'll have a mini bull market within the RH ecosystem, like outside of the larger broader?
Yeah, because you know what proved it to me? The way that Hedron worked, the way that Maxi played out, the way that Pulse Doge played out, like that same, like we used basically Pulse Chain dropped in a lot of ways when these coins were invented. Like I know that it's not Pulse Chain, but like the methodologies, the thought that went in the way the market played out, that stuff is going to repeat. It's the same economic energies coming from the same people in that ecosystem. So we're getting it's like a test bed for what's to come. So in a lot of ways, to me, Pulse Chain is coming out in beta waves, and like these alt derivatives and stuff is like the start of of Pulse Chain.
Imagine all that dry powder at near the bottom of the bear market, and Pulse Chain launches, just fireworks, explosions, chainsaws everywhere.
Yeah, dude, the money coming out from outside, waiting for Pulse Chain is pretty exciting to think about, for sure. This chart I have up here is the Pi Cycle top indicator. It also measures bottom. When the price gets over the orange line, where you can put in a bottom. If you noticed back here in 2020, it just couldn't quite get above. But when it did, if you just kind of forget about the anomaly of the COVID dip, once you get above it, it's holding support. And you're starting to market, and you can see that we're getting in that zone now where it's starting to test that at a higher frequency. And that's like a telltale sign that it's called consolidation under resistance. That's like something to look for when a trend change happens. So yeah, I think we're getting close to a bottom. Don't trust it. It called it right here for the top to the day. I think I was live with Whales Only when this happened. It's like in April. Yep, April 9th. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you don't have to trade off of it, but once the price gets above the orange line and it bounces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, times, like eventually you can't ignore the reality of it. You might not like something when it's at a key inflection point, but once it starts to show history is playing out again, you have to kind of, adjust your reality a little bit. Because it's proof. Like, look at this. Anytime you get above the orange band and you pop off at it a couple times, it becomes long-term bull market support. When you break it and the orange crosses the green, it marks a top. It did it here, it did it here, it did it here. Oh, I see. Like for me, like also just a quick note on indicators and like settings and stuff. Like a real good analyst would be pulling in all
Cabana getting a lot of wind in your mic right now, man.
You good? So yeah, I mean, it's like there's a lot of, everyone likes their own different way of viewing the markets, and I don't have any one particular way, and I'll look at tons of different time frames, tons of different indicators and settings, and then I'm just trying to synthesize the view, right? So I don't have any like favorite of anything when it comes to market indicators or anything like that, and I don't trade on one indicator.
And charts are like meant to be guides, not like absolute guaranteed maps. So it's like you use these things to guide your process, and using multiple indicators, different frameworks of charting. That's how you come to hopefully a meaningful conclusion. If you just rely on one indicator, that's tough, man. Like good luck to you.
Yeah, it'd be like going out to sea on a ship without like a wind tracker, without like a compass or something, and trying to like get to where you want to go, and then not being able to predict a storm that is going to come. Like you want to be able to adjust course based on what the market's telling you. So it's basically more of like a dowsing rod or something that you're trying to like find like a general direction of trend. Is it generally going to go down over a year? Or is it generally going to go up over a year? If I can answer that with confidence, then I'm confident to purchase or sell.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is cool. This is the HEX dominance chart. This is like HEX's overall impact on the total market cap of all crypto. It's created this huge, beautiful falling wedge, and it's now tapped support a couple times. So if you look back in history, it happened here where it created a base, did a double bottom, and then that failed when the big payday happened, and so you got a lower low where it did the same pattern, is a flat base. And then if you go up to modern time, like it created a flat base with like some sort of a double bottom off a high, and then it cracked lower, and now we're doing another one. So I mean, and it's in a falling wedge where there's just not a lot of sellers left.
You should do a stream where you do all this, but it makes no sense and it just looks like you're drawing pornography on the chart.
This is the giant erect bullish market indicator.
like when what was that, Obama had that translator or something who didn't know sign language, like that kind of thing, but with charts.
Or like those old Asian movies where like the lip sync's totally off.
Yes. It'd be hilarious. Oh, just in time. I said pornography and the dating site thing came up. Amazing.
There you go. Right on cue. This is my stablecoin index. I use this to track market cap of stablecoins.
Oh.
And you can see it's kind of in like a falling channel right now. So it's actually, stablecoins are like basically sideways. There's not new stablecoins being created. Let's see, what does that mean for us? I don't know. I don't know what that means for us necessarily right now, because the market's starting to bottom. So I guess if this reverses, then that means that the bear market could be over, right?
Well,
could be. I mean, there's a lot that needs to happen there. Latin American crypto brings up an interesting point that's been talked about, I guess, over the past few days. Hello, Cabana. Will the imminent collapse, that's pretty assumptive there, of Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse launch the next bull run where HEX and Bitcoin will reach new all-time highs? I mean, I think we're going to get new all-time highs no matter what in the coming years. It's like, when bottom, who knows? But as for calling, like, saying it's an imminent collapse of Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse, I know like everybody's looking at those CD charts and stuff like that. People are looking too hard, in my opinion. Credit Suisse will cite their strong balance sheet and say, y'all are crazy. So that's their answer to that. We're going to find out. Could be right, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to ask Axis too, like how much can you tell from just on the stablecoin thing? Is there indicators around volume that you can kind of tell market swings by looking at the stablecoin?
Yeah, you have to source that data from other places, because this chart is just a composite of three separate. It's not going to come through on this chart, but yeah, you'd have to go back and source it somewhere else. And yes, it is good to do that analysis. Time consuming though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like as a matter of fact, Silver the Antidote has this software called Nansen that basically you can go in and look at all the on-chain volume data, and you can know about specific wallets and all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, we utilize that in that Discord chat that we have. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I was just like on the regular markets, the Nasdaq, like find support. The Dow Jones had a nice bounce off its high here, pre-COVID high. And then the S&P, kind of a similar setup, nice bounce off that high here. And then Apple, the strongest company in the world, arguably has found like a higher low so far with a nice fat wick. This has been one of my leading indicators on the global market. Costco's in some sort of a bull flag. Just like the big companies that are driving the global economy. Like I try to keep track of that stuff.
I need to get some more chicken from there too. Thanks for reminding me.
Like yeah, one thing that does concern me is that the crude oil price, so energy prices are going up. Man. Yeah, dude, they're never getting rid of it. That's for life.
Once that breaks, man, we're all screwed.
I think once the $1.50 hot dog peg breaks, the whole entire world's gonna collapse.
It's 2035, and Costco hot dogs cost $19.50, and it's just chaos in the streets everywhere.
2035, and it costs 150 hex for a Costco hot dog. Oh shit! Oh wait, no, it would be like 15. It'd be like 15.
Yeah,
right? My numbers were off. I forgot to take a zero away.
Yes, extreme volatility in the hot dogs.
Oh no hot dog volatility. No.
Yeah, leading indicator hot dog sales.
I actually saw a joke of that during the COVID where it was on like Twitter. Someone's like, "Oh no, Costco changed their price of their hot dog. The world's gonna end."
Yeah.
Thank God that didn't happen. I was actually, my heart kind of sank that day that I saw that.
It is quite the stable coin / stable food.
Hey, we aren't getting any new dollars in the supply. This is like a complete flatline on new dollars into the supply. So they're tapering for sure.
That's interesting.
I did have a note before we cut off here, gents. Call it a afternoon.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we can go with
for Kareem, who's supposed to be on. So shout out Kareem. One day, you'll come. I know. For those joining late,
Cabana, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? And I might try to like meet up with Kareem on next weekend, and maybe we could do a stream with you guys live. I'll be in Florida then.
Yeah, he's in South Florida. He's in Miami.
Is he?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be in Miami next weekend. So
yeah, I think
maybe I'll try to get him to fucking finally show up for work.
But yeah, the reason I brought Kareem up is I had to know because he's talked DXY for years now, and he pointed that out at the Bitcoin top. And for about 20 months, like we've been on a serious run. Do you have any views on DXY? Real quick.
Yeah, I'll bring it back up 1 second.
Not sure if that's something that you follow, but I think this all ties together. That's why I like talking about it.
Yeah, the DXY is in a parabola still. It had a nice sell off, but it's still holding its trend here. Pretty insane. So when that finally breaks is what you want to look for. It's rising on the RSI as well and has not made that RSI is pretty scary. What does it mean? It means total manipulation, if you ask me. Well, won't go too far in the weeds on that, but like as long as the dollar continues to go up, we're at basically where we were into the year 2001 at these levels here. Created a little channel for us. And this last time that this happened, it was in there for about 600 days roughly. You had about 580, 600 days of being in this upper band. So if it just ranged here, sideways, we wouldn't be done. The bear market would not technically be over at these high levels on this for another year and a half. So you're looking at and then what happens if it breaks that 120 level and goes higher? There's a lot of what ifs. It just doesn't have a history of doing that. This data here is going all the way back to 1968. So we're at a level now where we haven't been here since 01, and before that it was 86. So I guess the best way to position during this time is look for the reversal on it. But I'm just saying it might be 580 days. So you're going to want to be at the computer every moment for 580 days. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's kind of my take on that. It's pretty insane, man. I don't know what is your thinking on the DXY?
I don't know. I think we hit like the top end of that channel like earlier this week or late last week, and so now it's like are we gonna make another leg higher, or if that is actually a high, then crypto can finally maybe start to put in the actual bottom and get out of here. Or if we turn sideways with it for a little bit, like you were talking earlier, maybe Bitcoin can get up to like 25K, and maybe that could be like the new range for a little bit. And if we grind there for a minute, maybe that's our way out 6 months, 3 months, 12 months from now.
Mm-hmm. When you compare the DXY against Bitcoin, whenever the DXY goes up, Bitcoin goes down. Whenever the Bitcoin goes up, DXY goes down. However, because of the amount of dollars that it was put into the system and the floor price with inflation and, accounted for is so much higher, it almost feels to me like you could just not see extreme lows on some of this stuff and still see the dollar and Bitcoin start to run together. in this new inflationary environment. Because technically what's happening right now is deflation, right? Because there isn't new money coming in. So the dollar is going up and it's getting rarer, and so is Bitcoin at the same time. And it will especially be rarer the lower it goes, because so much more can be accumulated with those expensive dollars that you have. That's what creates these. When this thing gets punched in the nose hard enough and it reverses, like the crypto market's gonna scream. You know, it's not gonna be slow when that happens. So you just, I guess, just be prepared for that. And the best way to be prepared is to buy small bags on a regular basis down here at these levels.
Yeah, like we were saying, it's a win-win. So I mean, if we go lower and you still have some capital preserved, then you get to buy lower. But if we scream higher and you took some on here, then you're on the train at least. But if you're waiting all in for maybe another 50% drop and you don't get it, that would suck.
Yeah, the risk is to the upside now. Like we already know that it can drop 50%. So as long as you're risk assessing when you're buying, so you're not like overexposed for that, you can buy a 50% if it comes. That's great. All that's great. And then because the risk is that it will just start to leave you behind, and then like every single time that this stuff goes up, even just 10 or 20%, that's a lot lost over the long term. That's something that Cabana and I learned a lot in the 2018 bear market, is how much more the money you put in at the low goes than the money you buy halfway up the trend.
Testify, my man, testify. Because as you recall, I'm sure, we were at between 3 and 4K. And I know RH Max, if you got to go, I want to at least get you an exit here.
Yeah. I'm going to drop.
Access and I might talk for a minute. Okay. Yeah,
right,
well, show yourself,
good.
man. Where can we find you?
Hey, at RH Maximus on Twitter, just the way it sounds. And RH Max on YouTube. Be talking to Kinetics here in 45 minutes or so, hopefully about the documentary.
Kinetics.
Maybe some news, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So I appreciate it. Good to talk to you, Cabana. Good to see you, Axis, as always. And I'll see you gents later.
See you, man. Hey, well, I'll come back on anytime. Just send me an invite.
Yeah, we'll do, man.
Right.
We'll do.
See you, brother.
All right. So, yeah, like I was just saying there, we don't have to go too much because...
Yeah, I got to get. I was actually supposed to be on the road already, but this is worth it to me, so I appreciate it.
Okay. I appreciate you, man. Like I was just going to touch on, if you remember, a few years ago, 2017, 2018, we were at 4K Bitcoin, and you had a lot of influencers out there calling for potentially $1,000 Bitcoin.
Yes, it was right here. So this is what the chart looked like at that time.
Yeah, and a lot of people were waiting for it, and they never got it.
This is what the chart looked like, and everyone was calling for 2,100 and like 1,200 as your next levels. So that would have been like right here, and down here, like at this base here. It's basically they were just looking at the tops, I think. These basic levels, and and I just remember, again, it was this crabbing sideways, weeks of sideways, price action. And just boring, and people would started to leave crypto thinking it was going to go lower or whatever. And then when these candles start producing tiny increases, 3-4% candles over weeks and weeks of time, is like a telltale sign that you're bottoming. And then what it looks like on the small time frames is that this stuff looks like it's rolling over, but it's not really. It's just paused, right? Crabbing. Yeah, if you go to right now, I mean, you got a similar thing going on here. That's why I have this fractal drawn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It feels the same a little bit. We had that big drop, and now we're turning down. Yeah, we can go lower, and if you have some dry powder, awesome. We win. We'll buy it lower, but why not take some on our consider it?
Look, we're above this downtrend resistance. So I mean, this thing has got technically, there are some sell pressure on the way up here, but a lot of this has already been worked through, right? So this can quickly get back to 25K. Even though it doesn't feel like that, because retail's not here yet, but that's just how market operators work. They're just taking their accumulation bands here, and then they can just with a certain allocated amount, they can just get it back up, and then force all the other big bags to chase. And these Bitcoiners have been making money in this stuff for so long that they got plenty of dry power to make that happen. Yeah, it just feels like very bottomy to me. I mean, I'm basically talking circles at this point. It feels great to me right now. I don't see a lot of downside risk.
Yeah, I've not felt, to piggyback on that, I've not felt like kind of this excited since 2017, like late. It just feels very similarly to that. At the same time, like we have a lot of different forces working against us that are far different than then. But at the same time, it's like, man, you know, you have a dip to previous, highs years ago. So why would this not be a good time to at least consider putting some on? And again, that's probably the third or fourth time I said it, but if you get another low, then you win again. You get to buy more.
Yes, sir. Just don't all in at these levels. Keep some for a potential 50% downside, but keep bringing it in on the paychecks if possible.
And you don't feel it that way either if you're doing it in small amounts and regular amounts instead of like one huge tranche.
Yeah.
And then waiting
Most
for
of
3
us have
months.
been there.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
cool,
Just
man.
be
I want to
patient.
thank you for stopping by and taking the time out, talking some hedron, some overall markets, HEX. We're gonna talk all this stuff with Kareem, but we got the bonus access stream
Let's
today.
go,
So
dude. I
good stuff.
love coming on, man. I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Last week's was
Appreciate.
epic. It was like freaking 4, 6, 12 hours or something you guys were going for.
Oh, that was Jesse and K4K. Those guys
Yeah.
can just
They
talk
just kept
forever.
going and going.
K4K
Energizer
tried
Bunny.
to close, and then Jesse would bring up another point, or K4K would ask another question. I'm like, "You're the one that I think that was going to leave," and then he asks another question. Of course, Jesse just launches into it. It's just like, yeah, that was funny. So, well, good
Good for
stuff,
them.
man.
Thank you.
Where can we find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter
You got all
at
sorts of
Access
stuff
Dlive.
going on.
And yeah, if you want to know more about that private Discord group, which by the way, we've made some pretty good calls over the last 2 weeks.
You got some
Message.
OG Hexkins in that. So
Yeah, there are.
I believe there's a coffee sighting and some other big names in there.
Yeah, it's no joke. So, I mean, if that's something that interests you, go message 0x Brennan on Twitter. And where else? I'm gonna be finishing my website up. Hopefully, going into the new year, accessalive.com. I got the domain, and that's where I'll
Nice.
be posting updates over the long term. So,
Nice. All right, man. Well, thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. And I thought, like I said, we were gonna have Kareem on to talk a bunch of stuff. You spoke to everything with knowledge and beautiful visual aids, like you always do. So
glad I could assist. Now Kareem owes me something big. Maybe he's got some room on his dream wallet for me.
there you go. All right, man. Well, audience, I'm going to leave you with a shot of this unspoiled little area access. You can drop off or you can hang out for
All right,
a
man.
minute. And then, I'll leave
Taking
you
out. I got to
some
get on the
sights
road.
and
I'm supposed to be
sounds.
on the way to Chicago. Yep.
All right, man. Thank you,
All
man.
right. Thank you. I'll see you guys. Thank everybody in the chat. Appreciate you being here. Keep supporting Cabana.
Yeah, bro.
See you guys
Thank
later.
you.
Peace.
All right. So let me get in position here. Let me set this shot up for you. Hold on. All right. I'm working on it. Here we go. Get this turned around here. All right. There we go. Need a little bit more sand here. So let me get out of your way and take these headphones out and enjoy a little peace and serenity for a minute. All right, fam. That is going to be a wrap. Let me see here. There we go. That is going to be a wrap for today. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. Appreciate RH Max, Axis, coming by. Shout out Kareem, man. You did. I know he had a late flight. I can't wait to have him back on again. MJ Money, Gulf Coast of Florida, brother. Cheers, Pulse Tube. Yeah, the Panhandle, I should say. Gulf Coast, part of the Gulf Coast got hit pretty hard, but this is the Panhandle side. So up north towards Alabama. I was at the Talladega race this past Sunday, so that was cool. Thanks, Lights Out. I'm just trying to say hello to everybody in the chat. I saw HEX 720 here, HEX Hodl, what's going on? So yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I do have a wedding event to go to next Friday, so we're gonna have a different time next week. I'm thinking it's gonna be Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, just a day ahead of things. But yeah, I have a wedding to go to, so that'll mess me up on Friday. But otherwise, yeah, that's about all I got. This is Gulf of Mexico, so technically not an ocean. But yeah, it's called, I guess, the Emerald Coast up here on the Panhandle, Panama City, what is it, Pensacola, Destin. This whole area is beautiful. So yeah, it's about all I got. I'd love to just sit here and watch this with you all day, but I am losing battery life on all devices, so I can't do that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody soon, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks so much. We'll be back next week. Like I said, I believe Thursday, 5 p.m., but stay tuned on all the socials, and we'll update you when we're back with the crew. Likely Randy Hilarski and Big K, maybe some Wendy's, maybe Motley Investor. So yeah, get the crew back and do an in-studio show. Thanks again, everybody. We will see you next week. Cheers.